Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Bryant and I'm Head of Policy and Programmes at Walk Free, and I'm really pleased to be joined by Nasreen Sheikh today. Nasreen, you've been a really powerful advocate against modern slavery since about 2016. Would you be able to share a little bit more about why you decided to speak out against this issue?
Hello everyone, my name is Nasreen Sheikh. In 2016, I started to speak up because I witnessed in 2015 7.8 magnitude earthquake, which was a huge catastrophe for Nepal. We lost a lot of lives and so much economic loss, and also local women's handicrafts was going through a lot. And I was like, oh, I don't know how to proceed anymore. And I wrote a letter to one of my friend about I don't know what to do next, and she's like, you should speak up. So in 2016 I got invitation to travel to America and speak about what was happening in Nepal and how my projects was kind of jeopardized by the climate crisis and a lot of not having resources. So as I was sharing the experiences and the projects I was working on the ground, I also got the opportunities in US to visit some places. And as I was visiting, I saw major department stores of products and things which made me remember of some of my experiences of being in the sweatshop. And as I touched those fabrics, and a lot of memory came, and then I came to understand that still like countries like America is importing things that contain slavery. And when I saw and understand more and more, I was like, okay, I need to speak up more and learn more. And I think in 2019 or 20, that's when I was introduced to Walk Free. And as I learned about the Walk Free and understanding that there was over 14 million people in modern day slavery, I was able to connect all the dots and understand that my story was not just my story, it's the story of over 40 million people. And then as I'm being more involved, realizing like within this few years we have 10 more million people in slavery, so it is a 50 million people. So those if this would have been just my story, I would be not speaking up, because it's the story of these young girls, my communities, and so many people, so many young girls. I feel like I must speak up because I can speak English and I can travel, and these are resources that I want to use for good. So since then, I started to speak up.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nasreen. Can you share a little bit more about who Local Women's Handicraft is and how they empower women and girls in local communities?
Yeah, Local Women's Handicraft is a small social enterprise that was built on the idea of taking a small loan and buying one machine. And the idea was to create ethical and sustainable fashion, but also at the same time honoring the artist, making sure the artisans have safe working place, they're receiving fair wages, they are working, only 6 days a week with like 9 to 5, and just safe working conditions, and making sure that we are working with natural fibers. And we partner a lot with the local farmers. We focus a lot in the hemp fabrics and upcycle fabrics, preserving these ancient looms and techniques that is very, very sustainable, that exist in our community. And because of the modernization, a lot of these practices are kind of um, we are losing it, in a very fast way. So the Local Women's Handicraft whole vision was to how to preserve that, and at the same time build and give opportunities to these women economically, and make them independent. And when women have the money, she acts differently. She's a leader. She's taking care of their children. She's building peace. And when we saw that, we were continuing, and today over 5,000 women have been through these programs and become an artist.
Thank you so much, Nasreen. My next question is, how is the modern world impacting Indigenous communities?
Indigenous communities' ideas is like passing through one generation to another and honoring what was working and taking out some of the things not working. And there's a lot of techniques in Indigenous communities, such as loom. Those looms are 100-year-olds. It does not need electricity. It's very independent. People can make in any time. Even women can make their own looms because it's all made by wood. And also they can use these natural resources such as hemp or such as bamboo fabric or cotton or even upcycled fabrics and turn into anything that they want to make. And that goes a lot of creativity. And it's those, for example, if we make a backpack, those backpack that we make with the hemp will decompose within 8 months, such as the plastic one will stay for 8 years, or I think it's 800 years. And so it's like all of this generation has to deal with all these plastics. And as you know, fashion is one of the most polluting industries. So Indigenous community do have solutions. They have technology which is very built on the ecosystem of their well-being and happiness. And I see loom as a meditation. And back in time, a lot of people, that's how they used to create community. It's also a way of community to engage and be a part of creating something. And modern world is made like everything is fast, and cheap and quick. Indigenous knowledge and crafts are very much based on the slow. It's about energy, it's about connecting, it's about making sure that whatever I'm making is in alignment with nature and humans and happiness. So right now, I would say countries like Nepal and India and Bangladesh, we are all in the kind of little bit threat in these communities. And programs like what Local Women's Handicraft has is such a beacon of hope to preserve. And I think more and more aware businesses, small businesses, grassroots organization is seeing that is the solution, to bring back the science and Indigenous knowledge together. Even just talking to Cardinal yesterday, he was like, I'm so much fascinated about modern science and Indigenous science bringing together and seeing what we make. And I agree with him, like if we can see and as Grace says, listen, we will learn a lot, because there is already a lot of solution exist in that community. And that's what Local Women's Handicraft is trying to preserve, and we have been preserving since 2008. And when anybody visited our center, they can see and feel that.
Fantastic. Thanks, Nasreen. I want to now ask you about the role of faith, and what is the role of faith in empowering women and girls?
Role of faith in empowering women and girls is very huge, especially in countries like India, Nepal, Pakistan, because we already are very influenced and raised in a religious belief systems, but also there is Hinduism and Christianity and Muslim and Buddhism. So we're already existing in that kind of many different kinds of belief systems. And if the faith leaders can collaborate and unify their thoughts together and not fight with one another, it will create a lot of peace, which will give opportunities to young girls and women to also be a part of peace instead of fighting. Because one of the things that I see in forced marriage is religion belief system plays a lot of big role in that. They say like before 18 you should get married, because there's a lot of stigmas that comes with religion. And I feel like faith is such a beautiful energy of connection. And if we can all come together and unite and collaborate on pursuing the faith in love, then faith in destruction. So I would really encourage as many people are out there to lead with love and to lead with collaboration and sharing. And also faith leaders such as priests, such as imam, have such a voice, how can they use their voice to make people aware, to make people conscious, to make people aware that within their own community there's lots of poverty exist, how can they solve that issues, how can they stop forced marriage, how can they stop child labor within on their communities. And I believe in them. If they can really come from the love, we can build all of these peace.
Thank you. And what would be one action you would like either governments or businesses to take to eradicate modern slavery?
That's such a good question, and I feel like they should be taking lots and lots of action, because as the leaders, especially as the politician leaders or business leaders, they're making decisions every single day. So I want them to be very conscious about how their action affects not just within their own countries but also in the rural villages. If 15 years ago any businessman would have been thoughtful about their supply chain, maybe my child would have been not stolen in slavery. So it's or so many still, 50 million people still in slavery, 28 million of them are in forced labor. We could really protect them. So it is a very precious time for politicians and leaders and business leaders to come together and think about how to protect these vulnerable communities with their leadership. I also feel like these leaders can inspire the consumer to become conscious consumer, and not lead through the fear, but again with the consciousness of love and care for these communities. Because a lot of the communities in the rural villages, they don't speak our languages. They're so behind, and they're watching of our leadership. They're looking up to us, So it is a responsibilities. And responsibilities the word is very easy, but to implement it takes time. And I really, really hope that our leaders sees these 50 million people as opportunities to help and support, and not as a burden.
Fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to share, Nasreen?
Just it's a very, very tough time right now, to be empathic, because we all can feel that our world is really not safe, because how the war in Gaza or in Israel is happening, and whatever the matter is, the fact that innocent people are being killed, the innocent children is being victimized by our society, by our leaders, it's just so painful for me and for a lot of us. And so I just really request to those people in the power that please use this power for good, and make something. Just like people in these communities, when I'm working on the ground, all they're looking for is a basic simple life, just a simple life of connectivity and growth and good education, clean water. That's it, and there is no space for war, there's no space for fight. There is only very small time left where we need to create love. And I'm a little concerned about when our next GSI report comes. It will be so painful for survivors to see more people in slavery, because for many of us, 50 million is not just a number. It's a girls like me, it's girls like Sophie, and so many others who are, part of this.